All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 61st episode of the FilmBrony podcast. I am, of course, Nick Canino, the guy in charge of the podcast. And with me, with me is the guy that started the whole podcast. So introduce yourself.
Well, it's been a bit of a while, not as much as last time, but we have a couple movies here as well as the best of the first half of 2025. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be going over our goals today. So hope you guys like are intrigued to join us for this and yeah, it's going to be a really good, it's going to be a really interesting show overall. Welcome, Jose. We're doing just fine. Thank you. Thank you. And how are you? Well, thanks, dude. Yeah, I
hmm
decided to wear this today in honor of the worst and best movies of the year so far. And given my trip to Universal Studios that I went to
Mm.
a few years ago, I I loved it. We're gonna um we're gonna start what we usually start out with, and that is the Blu-ray showcase.
All right, the OG Disney Jungle Book, Neo Dark,
Good movie,
The New Avengers,
very good film,
The Other Guys,
very good film.
Primary Colors, Shattered Glass, and Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Nice. I have four Blu-rays with me today, and they are one of my favorite films of 2016, and a movie that should have gotten this actress the Best Actress nomination, Arrival.
Indeed.
Next up, my number three film of 2017, Call Me by Your Name.
That's a good one.
Next up, another Ari Aster film that I have with me, Midsommar.
Harry Esther, just stick to horror, and you'll know why next Wednesday.
Yeah. And then last but not least, I know you consider this his weakest movie, Soren, but I really love this movie, The Phoenician Scheme.
Good but not great.
All right, well, we're gonna talk about two films today, and then we're gonna get on with the list after that. So, first one up is first one up. Oh boy. Oh dear lord. It's you know what? I'm just not gonna be running with this one. It's fucking Jurassic World Rebirth.
I was hoping original writer David Koepp and director Gareth Edwards would bring some life back to this franchise, but this is just another stay in this once great franchise. There's some decent acting, and dinosaur sequences were alright, I guess. But the story is boring and doesn't add anything to the franchise, and it takes about halfway to actually get going. Some of the dialogue was forced, and even some of the CG was pretty bad. So yeah, this was yet another sign this franchise is just a shell of its former glory, sealed mediocrity.
The only positives I did have with the film is that there are some good performances by Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, and Jonathan Bailey. Alexandre Desplat's musical score was great. It had excellent cinematography, and the boat sequence was easily the best thing about the film. Otherwise, no, just no. There are so many things wrong with this movie. Not only was the story such a contrived mess, but I was also shocked at how atrocious David Kemp's screenplay felt, especially with not only especially since not only did it have such terrible dialogue, but the characters are so unbelievably idiotically written, especially with some making some really dumb decisions for the sake of the plot. That I was like, my God. And it's even more disappointing given the fact that not only did David Kemp wrote the first Jurassic Park movie, but guess what he wrote earlier this year? Black Bag.
We'll talk about that later.
It's like, what the hell happened here? What the hell happened here, David? Also, I was very disappointed in Gary Fabris' directing, since it came up as being nothing more than a muddled mess. The rest of the acting, while not terrible, wasn't that great. Poor Rupert Friend and Manuel Garcia Ruffalo are horribly wasted in this movie. While the actor that played the boyfriend of one of the protagonists, oh my god, like he was so insufferable. He was like so insufferable in this movie, especially since he made some really stupid decisions throughout that. I had never wanted to see a character just get eaten by the dinosaurs more than him. Like, good grief. It's clumsily edited. The pacing was a sluggish mess. And minus the boat sequence, most of the action sequences in Jurassic World Rebirth were lackluster as hell, especially given how they lack any tension and or stake, as well as suspense whatsoever. And even the visual effects on the dinosaurs didn't look that impressive, especially with some, including this particular dinosaur looking so unbelievably bad. Like, I'm not kidding. There's a new dinosaur they added in the film called the Distortus Rex. And my God, just I'm about to pull this picture up. Like ah shit. Hold on, just give me a second. Ah, there we go. Let me brighten up the screen a bit. But yeah. Look at this. Look at this. He looks like if Rexy from Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies fucked the alien from, well, Ridley Scott's Alien, and this became their love child. It's like, what the hell were they thinking with that design?
Remember, kids, never inbreed.
Like, seriously. Cliches, yep, they're definitely in there. And the lackluster ending, also yes. Overall, Jurassic World Rebirth is definitely better than Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, but unfortunately, it doesn't save this from being one of the most boring, cliched, contrived, and incoherent movies I've seen this entire year. And it shows on why the Jurassic World movies have seriously run their course and just need to die. If you enjoyed this movie, good for you. Good for you. I wish Søren and I really wish we were on the same boat as you. This is one of the worst movies I've seen this entire year. 2 out of 10 or a D. Just a bad movie. Just another bad Jurassic World movie. I shouldn't be surprised given how much I was not looking forward to this, but with talents like David Kemp, Gareth Edwards, and the cast, you would expect something good from this. But unfortunately, what we got was just a not a big pile of dino shit, but just a turd, just a small turd.
Yeah. Finally, we get to James Gunn's Superman, and after the DCEU slowly crumbled into nothingness, it's about time James Gunn swooped in and made the DC brand, for lack of a better term, great again. And
exactly.
And this returns Superman to his optimistic glory. A great cast all around, from David Corenswet to Rachel Brosnan to Nicholas Hoult. It's colorful visuals and musical all around. And much like Suicide Squad, it brings D-listers like Mr. Terrific to the spotlight. And the emotional story is well paced. So I'm really eager to see where this new DCU goes. So, seal cinema.
I'm not quite in this. I'm not quite in the 10 out of 10 or the seal of cinema category. As my only complaint I did have with the film is that it did feel a bit overbloated with some ideas and characters it presented. But regardless, this was a great start to James Gunn's new DC universe. The story felt highly engaging. It was very well written and well directed by James Gunn. The acting was brilliant. David Corenswet was fantastic as Superman. And Nicholas Hoult, wow. I mean, talk about a villain right here. Like the way he performed Lex Luthor, oh man. Like, I hate his character so much, but man, his performance was so powerful that this is one of those characters you love to hate. The score was brilliant. The cinematography was fantastic. It's brilliantly edited, very well paced. The visual effects are fantastic. And best of all, it has some humorous moments as well as some dark moments that the film isn't afraid to dip its toes in. And above all that, it has a lot to say with its themes it's going for, which work very well. And also, what I forgot to mention, Rachel Brosnahan, who plays Lois Lane, she was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Good thing I mentioned that just now. So, yeah. Oh shit! Oh yeah! Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, the visual effects they did on Crypto was brilliant. I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, I've heard of that. I guess that's yet another reason to hate this Smurf movie, but we'll get to it next Wednesday.
Yeah, we will rant on that next Wednesday because I have a lot to talk about with that. So all I can say is stay tuned. Stay tuned next Wednesday for that. And the way it ended too, it makes me really excited for the future of James Gunn's DC universe. So yeah, overall, Superman is a great start to James Gunn's DC universe, and it is absolutely one of the most highly entertaining and exhilarating films I've seen this year and of this summer. And it is definitely on my list, but one of the best films of the summer and one of my favorite movies of the year so far. 9.5 out of 10 or an A. I absolutely love this movie, and I can't wait to see it again. Well done, James Gunn. All right, well, it's that time. It's time for Søren and I to present our list of the 10 worst and best movies that we both saw in the first half of 2025 so far. Now, before we go over the list, we want to present a couple of rules. Number one, we're only going to go over the films that came out in the first half of the year. So don't expect films like Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, Smurfs, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Fantastic Four, Sorry Baby, Naked Gun, or Weapons, or any of the best or worst movies that came out this summer to be on our list. We will talk about them next Wednesday on our podcast. So, yeah. And second, this is our Bad Guys 2. Thank you, Jose. And second, this is our personal opinion on what we feel are the worst and best movies that we saw this year so far. If you disagree with any of the choices, that's totally all right. Please remember that you're allowed to share your opinion in the comments below on what you feel were the best and were the worst and best movies you've seen this year so far. Anyway, enough dilly dallying. Let's get to the list. Starting off with my honorable mentions. Starting up with our dishonorable mentions and honorable mentions. Sword, you go first.
As for my dishonorable mentions, I have Dogman, a disappointing spin-off of the Captain Underpants movie. Lilo and Stitch, one of the worst of these Disney remakes. Plankton the movie, which is much better than the Sandy Cheeks movie, but still mediocre. Jurassic World Rebirth, which didn't do anything to justify continuing this franchise. Life of Chuck, which tried to be It's a Wonderful Life, but was too boring and complicated for its own good. The Actor, which was just a mess. And finally, Den of Thieves 2 Pantera, which wasn't much better than the boring original.
My dishonorable mentions are The Amateur, Death of a Unicorn, The Alto Knights, Wolfman, Megan 2.0, Lilo and Stitch, the live action remake, A Working Man, Until Dawn, Opus, and what was originally going to be and a film that I originally gave a 4 out of 10, but now it's a 3. It's a very low 3 out of 10. The Kristen Stewart and Stephen Yeun AI film, Love Me. Yeah. As for the honorable mentions, Soren, go ahead.
My honorable mentions are Death of a Unicorn, A24's most underrated film of the year so far, M3 2.0, which I found to be better than the first one, Rush, which is another underrated gem inspired by its unsuccessful setbacks, Last Breath, the new Gareth Evans film Havoc, The Surfers, and finally, The Penguin Lessons.
My honorable mentions are Final Destination Bloodlines, One of Them Days, one of the biggest surprises I've seen this year so far, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, The Friend, Becoming Led Zeppelin, Jane Austen, Wrecked My Life, Companion, Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning, F1, and finally, the one that almost made my number 10 spot, Bring Her Back.
All right, as always, on to the top 10. My number 10 worst is a movie by this particular director, which was just a forgettable bore fest, David Cronenberg's The Shrouds. Not even solid acting and an intriguing premise of seeing people rot after they die can save this movie from being both boring and not doing anything with its premise. It's no wonder why even Janus Films care about, not even Janus Films care about this movie, because this is my number 10 worst.
Yeah, originally I was going to watch this one, but then I decided, I love David Cronenberg, but this doesn't seem like one of those movies that I really want to see. My number 10 worst. Oh boy, I'm about to piss off some Marvel fans here because this started the Marvel Cinematic Universe on a really bad note earlier this year, and especially given all the trouble production and reshoots they've done. I really did not like this one at all. My number 10 is Captain America: Brave New World,
which is my number 10 best, ironically.
Well, Soren, why don't you explain why it's your best?
I know a lot of people like Nick over here didn't really like this movie, but I found it just as compelling, action-packed, and emotional as the MCU has been for over a decade and a half. After this and the 2 other movies this year, I'm excited to see how it all ties together in Avengers Doomsday, and Brave New World is my number 10 best.
See, that's where I have to disagree with you on this one because, well, to be honest with you, let me hold on. Let me find the thing. To me, it's not the worst Marvel film I've ever seen. as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is still my pick as the worst Marvel film I've ever seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But yeah, there are so many things wrong with this movie. There's a couple good things in it, like Anthony Mackie giving out and Harrison Ford both delivering good performances. The musical score was solid. It had great cinematography, and there were a few action sequences, mainly in the first act, that were actually a lot of fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie. But with that being said, this was definitely. Let me explain why I feel this is one of the worst films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, other than the story being, like, okay, hold on, let me pull this up. Okay, so the story was all over the place with the cramming in some subplots that either go nowhere or feel undercooked. The writing was atrocious, mainly due to its bland dialogue, lackluster characterization, and a very uneven tone where I can't decide if I want it to be a superhero film or a political thriller or a comedy. And with it having been one of my biggest pet peeves, where it has characters, it relies so much, and that's when it felt the need to spit out exposition, especially in some of its dialogue. Like, come on. The directing was a muddled mess. The rest of the acting, while not terrible, wasn't that great. Other than Giancarlo Esposito and Liv Tyler feeling horribly wasted, Tim Blake Nelson is also horribly wasted as well, especially since he's not given that much to do as the villain. And while the first act did have some solid action sequences, the rest of the action sequences, especially the Red Hulk fight towards the end, felt very underwhelming due to its poor editing. And the other thing I'm definitely going to criticize this movie for, the terrible CGI effects. While Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania still holds the candle for having the worst visual effects I've ever seen in an MCU movie, Captain America Brave New World's visual effects are definitely a close second. Not only did most of them look very sloppy, but some of them looked unfinished. And on top of its very lackluster ending, the mid and post-credit scenes were terrible ways to introduce the Phase 6. Yeah. And another problem, and this is the last thing I want to mention, of why the Red Hulk scene felt underwhelming to me, the timing. Given what's been happening in the real world, it's like it was supposed to come out last year, but then they decided to push it to like 2025. And given what's been happening in the real world, it's like the Red Hulk thing would. Given that the Red Hulk thing is supposed to be a symbolism for something that's going on in the real world, it's like, really, you just wasted your concept you just wasted a concept you just wasted a concept that had some potential but poorly executed it. Yeah, overall, Søren may have liked Captain America Brave New World, but I did not. It's not the worst film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but Captain America Brave New World was nevertheless one of the most horribly misguided, frustratingly convoluted, and inconsistent movies I've seen this entire year so far, and that's why it is my number 10 worst. As for my number 10 best, though, we're starting up with what I consider to be the first great film of 2025. And that is Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17.
It's a good movie, but I didn't exactly love it.
Well, I did, and here are the reasons why. Well, I definitely love this movie. Sure, it's not on the same vein as like Paris, but I really did love this one overall. And let me explain why it's my number 10 best. Let me just pull this up. Let me just pull this up. The story felt well structured, and on top of Bong Joon-ho's excellent directing, the screenplay he also wrote for the film was very good, especially with the way it explored its themes on resistance, survival, death, and the nature of power, while also providing some brilliant social commentary on capitalism and fascism, as well as its very well-written dialogue. The acting was terrific. Robert Pattinson gives out one of his finest performances yet as Mickey 17 and 18. Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette were both menacing yet brilliant in the film. And Naomi Ackie and Stephen Yeun also gave out some great performances as well. And on top of the film having a great musical score, fantastic cinematography, very good editing, brilliant production design, and great visual effects, the humor really hits home due to its clever social commentary. Like, there's this one, like, I don't want to spoil that. I don't want to spoil what happens, but there's this scene that happens like at the end of the second act of the film, that near the second act of the film, that he made me die of laughter. All I could say is it's involving a baby creeper. like my God, that was hilarious. That was hilarious. Yeah, overall, the only thing I will say is that there were some side characters that did immediately feel underutilized, and the resolution of the third act did feel a bit rushed and sudden. But overall, I thought Mickey 17 was a quirky, hilarious, and exhilarating and thought-provoking film. And that's why I found it to be the first great film of 2025, and that's why it gets my number 10 spot. I really love this movie.
My number 9 worst is one of many bad action movies on this list, Shell Force. Not having the charm of most of the cast can save this movie from being dull, boring, derivative, and just a cheap mess. I really hope Joe Carnahan's next film is way better, because Shell Force is not a good movie on his resume, and my number 9 worst.
Oh dear. My number 9 worst. I have two words to describe my number 9 words. I have two words to describe my number 9 worst. And chicken jockey. Yeah. Yeah, number 9 is a Minecraft movie.
Not gonna lie, I get a laugh out of that movie.
Not me though. I found it cringeworthy. I found those things cringeworthy. My God, this movie was just. Oh my God, this movie was just. Thank you, Søren. Oh my God, this movie was so painful to sit through, especially. Especially since this was absolute things in it, like the musical score by Mark Mothersbaugh, and it had great cinematography and very good production design. But other than that, a Minecraft movie was just nothing more than being one of the most generic, idiotic chaotic and boring movies based on a video game I've ever seen. Jack Black playing just himself rather than the characters they're playing. You also have the screenplay having too many cooks in the kitchen because, my God, the fucking dialogue in this movie. Like, first we mine, then we craft. Let's Minecraft! Good Lord! Felt like it felt like somebody in the writers' room relied on ChatGPT to write that. And Jennifer Coolidge, dear Lord, what kind of movie did she even stumble upon with this? Not only was she a fucking cartoon character as the principal, but that subplot between her and Nitwit. Like, what? And don't even get me started on the visual effects. Even despite some designs looking actually solid, there are some that look like an absolute nightmare fuel. There are some that just look like nightmare fuel. Like including this. Yeah, you'll definitely be seeing that in your nightmares tonight, kids.
Especially the theater employees having to clean out all the.
And not once. Oh my God! Oh my God! Like the. Oh my God! The TikTok trend of about the chicken jockey, like to you TikTokers, you ought to be ashamed of yourself because you're making it harder for the movie staff to like pick up garbage after you, like with that shit. Like you can clap and cheer, but throwing shit like popcorn, soda, confetti, and other things, no, that's going too far. $150 million. Oh, what else can I really say about a Minecraft movie other than this sucks? Yeah, it's my number 9 worst.
My number 9 best is a sequel 18 years in the making, that being 28 years later. While the previous 2 movies I felt didn't exactly live up to its complete potential, this one is definitely a step in the right direction as it ups the stakes, ups the gore, ups the zombie action, leaving me eager to see how the Bone Temple continues the story in January, hence the number 9 spot.
My number 9, I just mentioned this in the Blu-ray showcase. It's Wes Anderson's The Phoenician Scheme. Seriously, I love this movie. I really enjoyed his last 2 films, which were Asteroid City and The French Dispatch. But this I think is even better. This I think is even better than those last 2. I mean, on top of the story feeling highly engaging and well structured, Wes Anderson's as well as Wes Anderson's directing being excellent. The screenplay he wrote was absolutely brilliant. Not only did it have sharp and witty dialogue, but it also does a brilliant job with the way it tackles and explores its themes on morality, capitalism, strained family relationships, corruption, and religion. The acting was terrific Benicio del Toro gives out one of his best performances yet. Mia's 310 was terrific, but man, Michael Cera stole the entire show as Bjorn. I mean, some of the stuff he did made me laugh so hard. And all three had great chemistry as well. Riz Ahmed, Tom Hanks, Bryan Cranston, Jeffrey Wright, Scarlett Johansson, Benedict Cumberbatch, Rupert Friend, Hope Davis, Bill Murray, and Willem Dafoe, although he and Murray aren't in it that much, are also great. And on top of Alexandre Desplat's fantastic, terrific musical score, fantastic cinematography, exquisite production values and costume design, and Wes Anderson's dry and quirky humor feeling witty and clever, I was also surprised and really impressed with how it wasn't afraid of showing its dark moments throughout. Now, yeah, there were some editing choices that did feel uneven at times, but that's really it. Overall, the Phoenician Scheme is another great addition to Wes Anderson's filmography, especially since this was a quirky, poignant, highly entertaining, and absorbing portrait of family, capitalism, corruption, and morality. And it proves once again on why Wes Anderson is one of the finest filmmakers working today. And that's why the Phoenician Scheme is my number 9 best.
My number 8 worst is the most unintentionally hilarious movie on this list, Flight Risk. Mel Gibson went from making Oscar caliber war dramas like Braveheart and Hacksaw Ridge to making this fake-ass thriller with terrible green screen and CGI, as well as performances that range from decent to not even trying. Mark anyone? Face it, the only reason Mel made this movie was to fund his 2 Passion of the Christ sequels that are just too little too late. And Flight Risk is definitely...
And I'll rant about... And let me tell you, I will rant to that in a little bit when I also talk about Flight Risk.
And Flight Risk is definitely my number 8 worst.
My number 8 worst. My number 8 worst really breaks my heart because this actor, one of my favorite movies I've seen this decade so far, and he's unfortunately starred in what is one of the worst movies I've seen this, and he starred in, and earlier this year he has starred in what I consider to be one of the most incompetent and boring films I've seen this year so far. Number 8 is Love Hurts.
And so does this movie. I'll talk about it later.
Yeah. Love Hurts. Well, no shit, Sherlock. So does this fucking movie. Man, this one really hurts. This one really hurts to put this on the list because Ke Huy Quan's acting in the film was actually pretty good, and it's a nicely shot film. They were the main reasons why this is only number 8 on the list instead of in the bottom 5. But man, talk about a movie that had some potential to be fun but failed due to its poor execution. And can somebody please get Ariana DeBose in a better movie? She won an Academy Award for West Side Story, for God's sake. But man, she was bad last year in Kraven the Hunter, and she's also bad in this one. There's no chemistry between her or Quan whatsoever. And this is one of those movies where it can't decide if it wanted to be an action film or a rom-com film, especially since the film's setting is set around Valentine's Day. And you know the movie's in trouble when, even despite good choreography, the action isn't all that exciting, and that's thanks to its choppy editing and the film lacking any sort of tension or stake whatsoever. Yeah, overall, Love Hurts. Despite Ke Huy Quan giving out a good performance, he was sadly not enough to save Love Hurts from being one of the most boring and incompetent movies I've seen this year so far. And that's why it's number 8. Just what a disappointment Love Hurts was.
My number 8 best is yet another underrated gem this year, Karate Kid Legends. This movie combines the cast of both the classic original and the underappreciated remake, while also giving a story that's engaging and compelling, as well as stellar martial arts action. It's a treat for both fans and non-fans alike, and is a good contender for my number 8.
My number 8. My number 8 is another terrific film from Celine Song, Materialist. Boy, did Celine. After she approached yet another. Fearless is another great addition to Celine Song's filmography. Thank you, Søren. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you're
Can
a bit. Yeah.
Oh, good. Sorry about that, guys. What I was trying to say is that after she delivered one of my favorite movies of 2023, Past Lives, I was really excited to see how she was going to do with Materialist, and boy, did she deliver another great gem. This is another great addition to Celine Song's filmography, since not only was this a sharp, poignant, and thought-provoking portrait on love and the complexities of relationships, but it's also a deconstruction on the conventional rom-com tropes. And it proves once again on why Celine Song has still got it as a writer and filmmaker. Now, yes, admittedly, there are some aspects within the story that did feel a bit rushed, but that's really it. I really love this movie. The acting was terrific. Dakota Johnson gives out one of her best performances yet. Chris Evans and Pedro Pascal both delivered terrific performances. Celine Song's directing was brilliant, and her screenplay was fantastic, especially with not only how well written the dialogue felt, how the film meshed the tones together brilliantly, and how real and fleshed out the characters felt, but how it had a lot to say when it came to exploring its themes on love and the complexities of relationships. Also, Zoe Winters, despite not being in the film that much, was absolutely terrific as Sophie. The score was amazing. It had stunning cinematography, great editing and pacing, some nice moments of dry humor sprinkled into the mix, and the ending surprisingly felt very satisfying as well. Overall, Materialist is sharp, poignant, and thought-provoking, and that's why it is my number 8 best.
My number 7 worst is what I once called the gray man of adventure movies, Fountain of Youth.
Oh, God.
You would think Guy Ritchie wouldn't make this a dull, unfunny, and derivative Indiana Jones wannabe, but thanks to Apple TV wasting $180 million on such a lackluster screenplay and effects, I wouldn't be shocked if everyone forgot.
Why?
I wouldn't be shocked if everyone forgot this movie even existed by the year's end. Hence the number 7 spot, Fountain of Youth.
My number 7 spot. You know, it really says a lot when people's most hated when most of people's most hated movie of the year is only number 7 on my list. I'm talking about what I consider to be the worst Disney live action remake so far, Snow White.
I do like it, but I do agree there's some.
Yes. You know this list is about to get ugly. When there were 6 movies on this list, I hated more than Snow White. Yeah. Wrap your mind around that.
I know.
There are 6 movies on my list that are worse. Okay. Yeah, I know. I said it. I'm sorry to repeat myself. But yeah, wrap your mind around that. Yeah, this movie was a mess. I only found 2. You know, the only redeeming things in the film are that Rachel Zegler was the only actress that gave out a decent performance, and the cinematography is good, but was very good. But that's it. But everything else, from the story to the writing to the directing to the rest of the acting, terrible. Especially Gal Gadot. My God. What happened here? What happened here? Like she was so terrible as the queen. Like, and it's disappointing considering that once upon a time, not only was she brilliant in some of the Fast and Furious movies, but she was Wonder Woman, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, indeed.
Like, what the hell happened? How could you go from Wonder Woman to this? How? The musical score and songs were generic as hell. The editing was a muddled mess. It's very poorly paced throughout. The costume design was an absolute joke, since he looked like something you find in a fucking dollar store. And the 7 bandits serve no purpose other than serve no purpose to the story whatsoever, since they're not given that much to do. And on top of the film having one of the worst endings I've ever seen, you knew I was going to mention this. You knew right off the bat I was going to mention this. The CGI dwarves. Oh my God.
They seriously look like Polar Express rejects.
Like, they look like if Jim Carrey Scrooge and the Polar Express fucked the 7 dwarves. Especially with how they did, especially what they did to Dopey. Like, look at this. Look at this. This is. Might as well play this clip from The Godfather. Let me find that clip. Yeah, in the words of Don Corleone from The Godfather.
Look at me mess with my boy.
Truer words couldn't be said better than that. Truer words couldn't be said better than that. Yeah, overall, this was just atrocious. Snow White is without a doubt the worst Disney live action remake I've ever seen, and absolutely one of the most incompetent and reprehensible films I've seen this year so far, and that's why it is my number 7 worst.
Number 7 best is the latest, and considering this movie underperformed compared to its budget, last of these movies, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Whilst nowhere near the strongest of these entries, it's definitely the biggest and most emotional the series has gone, with great performances, direction, and action, and unlike Tom Cruise has done before, safe to say this series ended off on a solid enough note, which is why it's my number 7 best.
I loved it too. I thought it brought the franchise to a really solid end. All right, my number 7 best. My number 7 best is another A24 film. And by the way, this is the second A, and it's one that I really loved. But given its subject, I can only watch this once. Number 7, Warfare. Yeah, my number 7's Warfare. Again, I really love this movie. It was a powerful and gripping war film based on Ray Mendoza's encounter he and his platoon experienced on November 19th, 2006, that had me on the edge of my seat. Both he and Alex Garland made a brilliant decision to recreate this mission in real time, since it really did feel like I was right there with these people, watching all the horror and chaos that was going on in that mission. And I mean, when you have a war film, when you have a war movie like this that gives me that type of experience, you know you made one of the most effective and powerful war films I've ever seen. On top of its powerful and gripping story, excellent directing, excellent screenplay, and the acting from everybody involved being terrific, especially with the actor that played Ray Mendoza, as well as like Michael Gandolfini, Will Poulter, Joseph Quinn, Kit Connor, and Charles Melton also giving out such brilliant performances. You also have fantastic cinematography, terrific editing, brilliant pacing, excellent sound design. And if there were words to describe the war sequences in these three words, it would be brutal, powerful, and gripping. And the practical effects they used for those sequences, fantastic. I mean, to describe the horror and chaos of the depiction. So, yeah, like I said, but man, is it hard to watch at times. Which is why this is a one and done film for me. But it's a great one and done film regardless. Overall, Warfare is one of the most powerful and gripping war films I've ever seen, and that is why it is my number 7 best.
My number 6 worst is one of those A24 films people seem to love or hate, and unfortunately on the hate side, Friendship. Even despite Tim Robinson...
Well, Søren, you're not going to believe this.
It's your number 6 best.
You had Captain America: Civil War as your number 6, as your number 10 best. I had it as my number 10 worst. You have Friendship as your number 6 best, and now I have it as my number worst, and now I have it as my number 6 best.
I promise this wasn't intentional. Even despite Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd giving it their all, I just didn't find his sense of humor funny. It all just relies on 100 minutes on making the audience uncomfortable, which I get is the point, but to me it's uncomfortable in a bad way as opposed to a meaningful way. I suppose I get why you might get something out of it, but I just can't, hence the number 6 spot.
Well, before I do talk about my number 6 sports, I might as well explain why I really love Friendship very much. Not only was Friendship a candidate for the funniest movie I've seen this year so far, other than another film which we'll mention next Wednesday, but this was such a twisted and bizarre yet hilarious and poignant portrait of loneliness, narcissism, and the dangers of adult male friendship that had me laughing while also intrigued at some of the dumb yet understandable decisions Tim Robinson's character makes throughout. Anthony DeYoung did a wonderful job with the way he directed the film, and the screenplay he wrote, brilliant. On top of its very well-written dialogue, as well as having a lot to say with its social commentaries and themes I just mentioned, it balances its dark and comedic tones and elements successfully very well. The acting was great. Paul Rudd, Kate Mara, and Jack Dylan Grazer are really brilliant in the film. But man, Tim Robinson, my God, what a fucking show stealer he was. What makes his performance so special isn't just because of how hilarious he is, but because at first you actually feel for the guy with how lonely he feels, despite being married to his wife and having a kid, and how he needs a guy friend to not only talk to, but also be accepted into, while at the same time you don't sympathize with him later on in the film with some of the dumb yet understandable decisions he makes on later on in the film that makes him come across as a creeper. And that's where the film's humor comes in. Like, when I say my God, when it came to the film's humor, it works because of how a twisted, absurd, and bizarre, yet witty and clever they felt. That one sequence involving a toad and Subway.
Still better Subway commercial than anything involving Jared Fogle.
Yeah, really. Like, seriously. Oh! Got him!
Jose, they just save that.
Jose has roasted Søren once again.
I say save that until Nick gets to a certain other movie on his best list. So stay tuned.
Yeah, the score was brilliant, especially with some of the synth waves Keegan DeWitt puts, which that gave it more of an 80s vibe. And it has one of my favorite and one of the most satisfying endings I've seen this year so far. Now, my only issue I did have with the film and why this is only number 6 on my best of list is because there were a couple of characters, mainly Kate Mara's character, that did feel a bit underutilized, and I wish they could have expanded upon furthermore. But that's really it. Overall, friendship is twisted, absurd, yet hilarious and poignant, and that's why it's my number 6 best. As for my number 6 worst, we have a movie by. It's not Wolfman, nor is it Megan 2.0, although I did mention them in my dishonorable mentions, but it is their other movie they released early on in the year, The Woman in the Yard. The Woman in the Yard. Man, talk about a movie that was so misguided and frustrating to sit through. Honestly, I gave it a 2 out of 10 when I first reviewed this film. But the more I thought about this film, the point where I had to lower it down to a 1 out of 10. Why a 1 out of 10, you ask? Because Daniel Weiler gave out a very good performance as Ramona, and it had great cinematography. Otherwise, the story was an inconsistent mess. The screenplay was terrible. Lackluster directing. The rest of the acting wasn't all that great. I was very disappointed in Lauren Bauf's musical score for the film, since it came out as being nothing more than a scrambled mess. The editing was all over the place. The tension, suspense, and scares feel non-existent. It's also filled with cliches that you've seen in countless other films before. And remember when I said earlier that Snow White had one of the worst endings I've seen in the movie this year so far? Well, guess what? The Woman in the Yard's ending makes the Snow White's ending look good. And the way like they use suicide as like a device, like the way they use suicide as like in Ramona that if the children want a bright future, she has to commit suicide. Means she has to kill herself. Look, I get Ramona's a bad mother, but her children need her, for Christ's sake. And just when I thought that ending was going to redeem itself, as Ramona does not kill herself with the rifle, and she and her children go on with their lives after Ramona defeats the woman and their house gets electricity back. All of a sudden, the movie then shows the painting of Ramona's face, and it has Ramona's name spelled backwards. So thanks a lot. Not only did you imply that what Ramona saw and experienced was not real, but you just made the ending worse by implementing that she actually did commit suicide. And you. Oh, I'm starting to lose already. You dunderheads had the nerve to include this PSA message in the middle of the ending credits by saying, if you or someone you know is in emotional distress or suicide crisis, please remember you are not alone. There is always help available. Please reach out to local health groups and organizations. Like you don't use suicide as a plot device for the sake of entertainment. If you want to throw in a message, involving this in a movie, that's fine. But do not use it for the sake of it. You need to have a story and handle this topic in a mature and realistic manner, like a fucking adult. The way they handled the message involving suicide felt soulless and dangerously immature. The woman in the yard has one of the worst endings I've ever seen in a movie, and it's also one of the most misguided, convoluted, and inconsistent movies I've seen this entire year so far, and that's why it is my number 6 worst. I would have put this in the top 5, but the fact that I saw 5 more movies that were worse than The Woman in the Yard really shows on how ugly this list is going to get. So, yeah, number 6 worst. Fuck this movie.
Number 6 best is the most overlooked film on this list, The Luckiest Man in America. It's a true story about an ordinary man who cracked the system and became Prussia Luck's biggest champion. It's brought to the silver screen with Paul Walter Hauser's committed performance and excellent pacing and writing that kept me engaged. It's one to check out if you're looking for an underrated gem, and my number 6 best. And since Nick already went over his number 6 best, my number 5 worst. It's the most boring film on this entire list, The Amateur. Not even the star power of Rami Malek and Lawrence Fishburne can save this movie from being not just derivative of other spy films, but also boring and uneventful as fuck. The only way I can recommend this movie is if you're out of NyQuil or something, but otherwise, it's my number 5 worst.
What was your number 5 worst?
The Amateur.
The Amateur. Okay, hold on. There we go. You were saying?
Yeah, I just talked about it. You were probably glitching out while I was explaining it.
Oh, by the way, Jose sent me another image, another photo of the dwarfs. Look at this. What the fuck is this shit? What? It's like all of a sudden, it's like day. That's probably the face I make when I that's probably the face I would make whenever somebody would get laid. Oh my god. Anyway. Yeah, I do apologize if I'm glitching a bit, guys. It's just the internet on my computer is really bad, and it's just there's no way for me to like control it. So I do apologize if I'm experiencing glitches. But anywho. Søren mentioned this one, and I might as well mention it too. A really crappy action film on this list, Shadow Force. Thank you. Yeah. Like, oh my God. My God. Like, talk about a guy that made some good movies in the past, like Narc, Cop Shop, and The Grey, and then he would make one of his worst movies yet, which is Shadow Force. Shadow Force is one of the most generic, cliche, and incomprehensible action movies I've ever seen. This is one of those movies where it left me feeling baffled and dumbfounded at how it not only got made, but it's some of the incomprehensible choices the film makes that by the time the credits rolled, it left me wondering, what in the hell did I just watch? I only found one good thing in it. One. Omar Sy. He was the only actor in the film that actually gives out a good performance. Otherwise, everything from the story to the directing to the writing to the rest of the acting, as well as the music, the cinematography all sucked. Especially the acting. Like Davine Joy Randolph was horribly wasted in this movie, and she's not the only actress. This is not the only time in a movie you'll see Davine Joy Randolph. Sadly, in my worst of list, as she is in another film, which I'll mention in a little bit. I feel so bad for the kid that plays the son. He tries his best, and while he didn't annoy me as much as some did, the way his character was written comes across as being nothing more than a comic relief for the sake of it. And if you know me, that's one of my biggest pet peeves in movies. And Mark Strong, who I thought was going to be the best thing about the film, is unfortunately terrible in this movie as the villain. And it sucks because he's playing yet another cliche villain that we've seen a dozen times before in other action movies. Method Man was horribly wasted in this movie. Kerry Washington was so lifeless. And I already mentioned Davine Joy Randolph. She's horribly wasted too. The editing was all over the place. The pacing was a sluggish mess. It's filled with cliches that you've seen in other action movies before. And now let's get to the thing that really pissed me off.
What am I looking at?
I don't fucking know, man. Like, good grief. Holy shit. Oh my God. All right, so moving on to what I was saying. Let's get to my biggest problem with the film. The action sequences. The biggest glaring issue I have with the film are that the action sequences are shockingly boring and atrocious. You know, I would forgive this movie for its cliches. I would forgive this movie for its cliches if the story and for its cliches and its bland story if the action was good. Because, good Lord, the action sequences are terrible. Not only are the action sequences absolutely terrible, especially with how they were choreographed and edited, directed, and shot, but oh my God, there's this one fire effect shown in this one particular chase sequence that I couldn't believe made to the cutting room floor. Like it looks unfinished. Like, look at this. How the hell did that make it to the cutting room floor? Did somebody look at this and did somebody who made this movie even look at this and say, maybe we should have tweaked it a little bit? maybe it needs a bit more tweaking a bit. $40 million wasted on this piece of shit. And you expect me to believe that they couldn't make the fire effects look more convincing? Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is on par with Firestarter in terms of having some of the worst fire effects I've ever seen in a movie. I'm not making this up. Also, yep, they also teased a sequel for this one, but with this dialogue where Devine Joy Randolph's character says Shadow Force 2.0, which, newsflash, not happening. Yeah, $40 million, and it only made $4.3 million. Yeah, you already see why the sequel isn't happening. Yeah, overall, this movie sucked. This movie really boring and incomprehensible action movies I've ever seen, and it is easily my number 5 worst. Just Joe Carnahan, please do a better movie next time. Please.
Yeah. Number 5 best is the opposite of The Amateur, that being Steven Soderbergh's Black Bag. His better movie this year.
I'll talk about that when I get to my top 3.
His better movie this year kept me on my toes as Michael Fassbender tries to fish out a rat in his agency, all complementing the experience with solid performances, steady pacing, and solid cinematography. It's yet another underrated gem this year, and it's a great film to kick up the top 5.
My number 5 best. Søren mentioned it on this list, and I might as well mention it here. My number 5 best is 28 Years Later. I love this movie. Yep, number 5 is 28 Years Later. Their franchise. But as a post-apocalyptic horror film, it works because of how intense and terrifying it felt. And as a coming-of-age drama, it also works because of how enthralling, powerful, and moving it also felt too. Now, my only problem I did have with the film is that there were some editing choices made in the film that did come across as being uneven and jarring at times. But that's really it. The story felt gripping, intriguing, and well-structured. Danny Boyle did absolutely a fantastic job with the way he directed the film and with the way he guides us through this one particular character's journey. Alex Garland's screenplay was also brilliant, especially with how it does a brilliant job balancing and meshing its coming of age and post-apocalyptic horror tones together. The acting was terrific. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Jodie Comer, and Ray Fiennes are all excellent in the film. But Alfie Williams, man, this kid was fantastic as Spike. I'm not kidding when I say that this is one of, if not the best breakthrough performance I've seen from a child actor this year so far. What makes this performance so good is how natural and powerful it felt, that you root and also feel for his character as you learn more about him. The musical score was excellent. The cinematography was spectacular. It's very well paced throughout. The production design was terrific. The film's tension, suspense felt so real that it had me on the edge of my seat throughout. And when I say that the film is brutal, I really mean it, because my God, the makeup they did on the zombies to make them look disgusting as they're butt naked is nothing short of astounding. And the same could be said with the practical effects. Seriously, bravo to the makeup effects artists and the people behind the practical gore effects. Now, I am well aware that the people were also very mixed on the film's ending, given its tonal shift. But I actually love the way it ended, and it makes me excited to see the Bone Temple next year. Now, like I said before, it's not the best of the 28 Days Later movies, but regardless, 28 Years Later was overall another great addition to the franchise, and one of the most enthralling, powerful, and terrifying films I've ever seen. And that's why 28 years later is a great way to kick off my top 5 best. Bring on Bone Temple, please. Bring on Bone Temple.
Number 4, Wars, is a big disappointment considering this main actor, and Nick just talked about it, Love Hurts. Trailers with Kiwi Kwan taking names and kicking ass really got me intrigued, but not even his charm can save this movie from being poorly paced and generically written, and the title's ironic because he had no chemistry to boast. Love Hurts, and so does this movie, and that's why it's my number 4.
My number 4. My number 4, Søren and I reviewed it last 2 weeks ago on our podcast, and it is the worst comedy I've seen this year so far. Number 4 is Bride Hard.
Simon, what happened to you?
Like, seriously, what happened to you, dude? What happened to you? This was one of those movies where it thinks it could have its cake and eat it too by being an action comedy where terrorists are invading the wedding, but it falls very flat due to its incompetent story and the jokes that feel so unbelievably idiotic that you left feeling annoyed and baffled at what you just watched. And since there are no redeeming things in it, I might as well explain a couple reasons as to why this movie absolutely sucks. First off, the directing. I mean, this guy's directed a couple of good action movies before. This guy's directed a couple of good action movies. Let me see what he's directed. Give me a second. Simon West. Yeah, he's directed some good movies before, like The Guilty Pleasure, Con Air, and The Expendables 2. Like, what the hell happened here? Like, the directing in Bride Hard was such a muddled mess. Not to mention the second biggest problem, the screenplay. It was absolutely atrocious. Not only do you have characters that come across as being obnoxious and one-dimensional, and the tone being all over the place, but it also had terrible dialogue, and the tone was, and the tone was also all over the place, where it can't decide if it wanted to be an action film or a comedy film. The acting was terrible as well. Rebel Wilson, for the love of God, stop playing the same character over and over and over again. Yes, I know in real life she lost 60 pounds, but this definitely felt like she was playing Fat Amy from Pitch Perfect over and over again. She was awful in this movie, but that's nothing compared to Anna Camp. My God, what an obnoxious performance she gave out. I don't know if it's either the writing or the way she was directed, but she was so annoying as Betsy that it makes you want to tell her to just shut the fuck up. And there's no chemistry between her or Rebel Wilson whatsoever. I didn't buy for a millisecond that these two idiots were friends whatsoever, let alone besties. And poor Davine Joy Randolph, once again, was horribly wasting this movie. I swear. First Shadow Force and now this. Like, can somebody please give her a better script? I mean, she won the Academy Award. She won the Academy Award for one of my favorite movies I've seen this decade so far. Give me a second. Like, for Christ's sake. For Christ's Christ's sake, she won an Academy Award for this. I mean, please give her a better script. If she's not, if you don't give her a better movie to be unfortunately in right now, I mean, and is still facing, and sadly she's not the only actor or actress wasted in this movie. Anna Chlumsky and Steven Dorff are also horribly wasted as well. The soundtrack was obnoxious. The cinematography was bland. It's clumsily edited, and it's also really predictable when it came to some of the elements shown in the film. And I know what you're going to ask me. Well, how are the jokes? How are the jokes in Braveheart? Are they at least funny? Nope. Other than that one line delivery from Davine Joy Randolph that did admittedly make me giggle, almost all the jokes in the film felt juvenile and idiotic. And don't think the action sequences are any better either. In fact, they all sucked. Yeah, the choreography was solid, but what ruins it is the lack of tension and or stake. Especially in this one chase sequence. And this one particular chase sequence has some of the worst green screen I've ever seen. Like what I'm about to show you are some of the screenshots I added, which with terrible green screen. Like, look at this. Yeah, it's so believable that they're being chased around the green screen like this. What's this? What's this? Attention to detail wasn't added. No kidding. Same thing with this. Like what in the holy mother of fuck were they thinking? Yeah, overall, Braveheart is one of the most incompetent and idiotic comedy movies I've ever seen, and that is why it is my number 4 worst. Fuck this movie.
My number 4 best is the best animated film of the year by a landslide, Predator: Killer of Killers. Between this and Prey, Dan Trachtenberg is truly making the Predator franchise great again, especially here with his engaging characters, stunning animation, and brutal action. It's got me eager to check out Predator: Badlands and Beyond, and it's my number 4.
Yeah, I heard really good. Yeah, I really heard good things about that one. Maybe when I don't review movies that go straight to streaming, but maybe I'll give it a watch sometime. Anyway, my number four best. The next four films you'll see on the list are all 10 out of 10 movies. The first of the bunch is my number 4 pick, The Ballad of Wallace Island.
Wallace Island. There we go.
Thank you, Søren.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I really love this movie. Hold on. All right. The Wallace Island. The Ballad of Wallace Island. Damn it. Bong, shamalama, ding, dong here. Freaking tongue twisters. Anyway, The Ballad of Wallace Island is such a funny, charming, and deeply moving dramedy about a folk musician who performs for a fan on a remote island that not only made me laugh, but also moved me like no other film has done this year so far. This isn't just a great movie about music and nostalgia. It's such a poignant portrait on relationships, art, and self-discovery. The acting is brilliant. The acting was brilliant for everybody involved, especially Tom Basden, Tim Key, and Carey Mulligan, who all give out fantastic performances in the film. The screenplay was also fantastic, especially with how well written the dialogue felt, how real and fleshed out the characters felt, and how it had a lot to, and how it did a fantastic job exploring those themes, like I mentioned before. And on top of its terrific directing, the story feeling highly engaging, as well as its fantastic soundtrack, excellent cinematography, brilliant ending, editing, great pacing, the film's humor feeling witty and genuine, and the film having one of my favorite endings of the year so far. This makes The Ballad of Wallace Island one of the most charming, poignant, and deeply moving films I've seen this year. And that's why The Ballad of Wallace Island is my number 4 best.
Okay, that's my number 3 worst is the worst pure action film of the year so far, Fight or Flight.
I was originally gonna see that one, but I decided, I'm not even gonna bother.
You're not missing shit. This movie tried to be like Bullet Train, and there was a 99-cent Bullet Train, especially with its underdeveloped as hell story with some of the biggest exposition dumps in the movie like this. Boring characters. I'm not just.
Oh God.
Obnoxious action and humor, and an ending that just stops abruptly. It's no wonder this bombed as hard as it did, because this was such a disaster from start to finish, hence the number 3 spot.
Coming in at number 3. Søren mentioned it on this list, and it is my number 3. Steven Soderbergh's Black Bag.
Okay, number 3.
Yep. The return to form for Steven Soderbergh is number 3 on my list. Thank you. Not only do I consider Black Bag to be Steven Soderbergh's best movie in years, but it's also a stylish, seductive, and intriguing spy thriller about loyalty, relationships, and truth. Yeah. This movie was very special to me because we don't get many spy thrillers like this anymore, where it's quiet while also trying to be stylish, seductive, and intriguing. And don't get me wrong, I love seeing a good action-packed spy movie if and when it's done well. But sometimes it's always good to see one spy film that not only succeeds in being one, but is also more quiet while also trying to be stylish and intriguing. And with Steven Soderbergh's Black Bag, it succeeds so well in being that. It succeeds so well in being that. The acting was absolutely terrific. Michael Fassbender gives out one of his finest performances yet as George. Cate Blanchett also gives out one of her best performances yet as his wife, as George's wife Catherine, and they had great chemistry as well. Not to mention Marissa Abela, Tom Burke, Naomi Harris, and Pierce Brosnan, although not in the film that much, are also excellent in the film as well. And on top of its intriguing and well-structured story, excellent directing by Steven Soderbergh, terrific screenplay by David Koepp, brilliant score, excellent cinematography, great editing, great pacing, some tension-filled moments that felt real and intriguing to the point where it had me on the edge of my seat during those sequences. The payoff in the final act was fantastic. I don't want to spoil what happens, but trust me, when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And when it came to the ending, it felt very satisfying as well. Overall, Black Bag is one of the most stylish, seductive, entertaining, and intriguing spy thrillers I've ever seen. And it is a great way to kick off my top 3. I love this movie.
Now, my number 2 worst is the biggest waste of this entire year, The Electric State.
Oh God. Oh my God. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Because oh boy, is there a lot to talk about.
$320 million, and you can't even afford a story that's not only half-assed, an ensemble cast that's so wasted. Source material that's not dumped into the garbage, and especially better filmmaking, especially when it comes to its not so good effects. Russo's, you better hope Avengers Doomsday does your careers better justice, because you just made your worst movie to date and my number 2 worst. Oh, speaking of worst, I think you missed your number 3 worst.
Oh yeah, my number 3 worst. My number 3 worst. I forgot about that. My number 3 worst was the first zero I gave in 2025. Søren mentioned it, and I might as well mention this one too. Number 3, Flight Risk.
Yanni, a better agent?
This movie was absolutely atrocious. Mel Gibson. I have this question I want to ask you. What are you thinking? No, seriously, what were you thinking? You went from one of the best movies I saw from 2016, Hacksaw Ridge, to now your worst movie yet, which is Flight Risk. And you know, I got a bone to pick with you, Mel Gibson. I got a bone to pick with you. Given your recent controversies you were in. We're in. I'm gonna have to go off for but talk about
Nick, I think your Wi-Fi's
because you confusing.
Nick, you're really kind out, man.
What?
You were kind out for a bit.
God damn it, am I glitching again?
Yeah.
Ah, shit. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Thank you. Okay. Your views not only make no sense, but how you like I'm not even kidding, by the way. This is the main reason why I am no longer looking forward to seeing his movies anymore. Like, his view, like, he said this about the wildfires earlier this year that happened in California that pissed me off to no end. Like, you won't believe, you're not going to believe how he said this. Like, you're not going to believe, like, early this year, he sparked huge controversy for his idiotic conspiracy theory on the California wildfires, and he called the California wildfires convenient.
What?
Like, what? Like, he stated this. I can make all kinds of horrible theories up in my head, conspiracy theories and everything else, but it just seemed a little convenient that there was no water.
Fuck's sakes, and Mel.
And you had the nerve to say all that on a fake news known as Fox News. What the hell is wrong with you? You lost your home when those fires happened, and you had the audacity to spread conspiracy theories like that by saying it was set up on purpose? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god. Yeah. This is why I am no longer looking forward to your movies. I'm still going to review them for this show, but I'm no longer looking forward to your movies, Mel. Get your fucking brain checked. Anyway, that's all my rant. That's all my rant towards Mel Gibson. Now I'm just going to talk about why this was my first zero. I gave 2025 Flight Risk. Excuse me. Let's talk about why Flight Risk was my first zero I gave in 2025. This was absolutely one of the most boring, incompetent, and idiotic movies I've ever seen. It thinks it's so clever at being a throwback to those cheesy 90s action movies when it takes itself way too seriously and drags on and on and on with its bullshit shenanigans to the point where you're not only left feeling bored, but also angry and frustrated as well. And as a result, the movie becomes nothing more than an absolute waste of time. I feel bad for Mark Wahlberg since he was the only actor that tries his best at with what he's given. It's too bad though that the material he was given to work with ended up sucking ass. Like especially with the obvious bald cap. Like good grief. Like good grief, that bald cap he was wearing. And don't even get me started on the CGI moose. Don't even get me started on the CGI moose in it. Like, look at this fucking thing. Look at this. Like, what the fuck is this?
Hey Disney, you got your Brother Bear live action remake for you.
Yeah. Even this guy looks more realistic than the moose itself. This movie, I don't know what it was, Rocky, but it sure sucked ass. And we thought we didn't look that convincing in the live action film. Well, look who's talking now.
And especially the opening shot, which was literally made through AI.
Like seriously, what were they thinking? And I'll mention AI when we get to my number 2 sports, which Søren already mentioned already, which is also my number 2, but you guys get the point. Yeah, everything in this movie sucked. Like, I would go on and on and on why this is such a dog shit movie, but I'm going to try to cut this short, but I'm going to try to cut a long story short and make this brief. Also, that's not the only reason the CGI in Flight Risk sucks. Like look at these screenshots that I took involving how bad the CGI looked. Look at this. And here's another. And here's another one. Hold on. Here's another one. And another. This one was the worst one. Like, you could literally tell it's Mark Wahlberg standing in a green screen. Like, how lazy is that? You could tell it's Mark Wahlberg standing behind a green screen. Okay, not standing, but more like lying down on behind a green screen. And the fact you have Topher Grace in the film giving out what might be his worst performance to date, since he's one of those assholes that doesn't shut the fuck up and rather acts like a whining baby, is absolutely baffling. Yeah, overall, I hated this movie. I really hated this one. It's one of the most idiotic, incompetent, and boring movies I've ever seen, and that is why Flight Risk is my number 3 worst. And my number 2 worst...
I should go over my number 3 best before you.
Go ahead.
My number 3 best is ironic because starting off the top 3 is a January film of all things, Companion. Fantastic performances and special effects complement a smart-as-hell screenplay about the ethics of romantic relationships and the abuse of androids. It was the first truly great movie after such a month of mediocrity, and it's an absolute miracle it's still in the top 5 even after Superman bumped it a bit down. So that's why it's my number 3 best.
And now my number 2 worst. Søren already mentioned it, and I have the same number 2. It's his. Yeah, and it is the worst Netflix movie I've ever seen. It's The Electric State. It's The Electric State. I really thought this...
Do you know how lucky you are that Kevin Feige vouched for you?
Like, seriously. Seriously. There are so many things wrong. I already described how I felt about this movie. I already described in full on why this is their worst movie, as well as the Russo brothers, as well as Netflix's worst movie to date. So I'm gonna try my best to keep it brief. Like, I'm gonna try my best to like. Yeah, I'm gonna try my absolute best to keep this brief. Let me repeat that again. $320 million wasted on a movie that it didn't even know what it wanted to be. And the movie having some of the ugliest and most reprehensible visual effects I've ever seen in a film this year so far. And what's the reason for this? One word. One word in these 2 letters in one particular word. AI. AI. Like, again, going back to what I said about The Brutalist, it did use a bit of AI in it, but the thing was, it was only used like sparingly. It was only used in small doses, like especially in the final scene in the final blueprint scene. And plus, it felt utilized well to the point where it didn't even look that noticeable. By using AI to like voice modulation, as well as the design on the robots, just what were they thinking?
I don't even fucking know.
And my God, the shitting wig presented on both Ke Huy Quan and Chris Pratt. The shitting wig. Let me find it. Like, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Kwan also has a terrible wig on as well. What? Are you kidding me?
These two really need better agents.
Like, seriously. Seriously. And if this was the Russo brothers' idea of presenting their own style of emblem of the Steven Spielberg emblem movies, then guess what? They completely missed the mark because they had no idea how Steven Spielberg's emblem movies even worked in the first place. Like, they completely missed the point on what made what made emblem movies so special in the first place. It had characters that had charm. It had great stories. It had great effects, and best of all, it had great direction. This movie has neither of that. Overall, what else is there to say? What else is there I can really say about The Electric State? It's one of the lousiest and most reprehensible and idiotic movies I've ever seen. And when I saw this a few months ago, I really thought it was my number one worst. I really thought that, but I really thought it would be my worst film of the year so far. But then came another movie, which I'll mention in a bit. But right now, let's just get to our number 2 best.
Number 2 best is Alex Garland's best film in years, that being Warfare. He and Ray Mendoza bring this immersive war experience to the big screen, and thanks to real performances, tense pacing, and excellent sound editing, it's an experience to behold. If this is the last film Alex Garland's gonna direct for a while, he ended up in the band, because if it weren't for one particular movie we'll get to later, this would have been this year's masterpiece. But for now, it's second best.
My number two, and this has been Søren and I's biggest disagreement, but I have to mention this. Number two, The Life of Chuck.
All right, this is where I get my bathroom break.
And yeah, Taz, Taz, Quan and Pratt did still look like hipsters. Oh boy. Well, there goes Søren. There goes Søren on this. Guess I'm kidding. He'll be right back. Anyway, The Life of Chuck is not only one of the best films I've seen that's based on Stephen King's material, but it's also one of the most whimsical and deeply moving films I've ever seen. Mike Flanagan did such an incredible job crafting such a poignant and deeply moving portrait on not only life, but also memories and the human connection surrounding it, while also delivering such a brilliant message involving hope that makes you feel good on both the inside and outside by the time the credits roll. It's not hard to see why the film won the People's Choice at the Toronto International Film Festival back last September, especially given that this is a movie we definitely need in a time like this. The story felt highly engaging and well structured, especially with how the film makes a brilliant decision to have the 3 acts be in reverse chronological order. And not only was Mike Flanagan's directing brilliant, but the screenplay he wrote was fantastic. Not only with how well written the dialogue felt, but how it explored those themes I mentioned, as well as exploring its heavy themes such as death and grief. The acting was terrific. Tom Hiddleston, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Karen Gillan, Matthew Lillard, and Jacob Tremblay all delivered wonderful performances. But the 2 biggest standouts easily go to Benjamin Pachak, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, by the way, and Mark Hamill, especially Mark Hamill. Like, what a performance! One of his best performances yet as Chuck's grandfather, and that's mainly due to how raw, natural, and riveting it felt. And on top of its brilliant soundtrack, fantastic cinematography, great editing and pacing, and some moments of good humor sprinkled into the mix, and some and some visual effects shown and some beautiful and cosmic visual effects. It also has one of my favorite endings I've seen this entire year. Like, as soon as it ended, I did not want it to end. You're such a Scrooge, Søren.
Yeah, I know.
You're such a Scrooge. Yeah, you are being grumpy. He's not only grumpy, Taz, he's being a Scrooge.
Hey, at least I'm a better looking grumpy than in the Snow White remake.
Right? Right? I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, overall, The Life of Chuck is one of the most poignant and deeply moving films I've ever seen. And if it wasn't for my number one film that Søren and I are about to mention next, this would have been my number one film of the year. But as it stands, The Life of Chuck is my runner-up as being the second best movie I've seen in 2025 so far. Mike Flanagan, well done, sir.
My number one worst is an animated film, and it's pretty much tied with Smurfs as the most hated animation of the year so far. And it's a cinematic abortion known as
A Grinch 2. Sneets. Oh, God, Sneets.
Not since the Emoji Movie has the very concept garnered so much buzz on how out of ideas Hollywood is. This felt more like an SNL parody of a Pixar movie than an actual movie, down to it being the same plot as Toy Story 2. The animation's abysmal, the acting is extremely half-assed even with the talent behind it, and the jokes are about as funny as underage trafficking, especially with the puns that feel like a fifth grader came up with them. So while this isn't the worst... So while this isn't the worst animated film of the decade, it's definitely in the top 5. And up until I saw a certain movie we'll get to next Wednesday, this was battling the electric stake as the worst film of the year, and it's certainly the worst of the first half of the year.
Alright. Well, you may have predicted this. You guys may have predicted this, but here, my number one worst film of 2025. Oh, shit. Yeah, I didn't even bother seeing Sneaks at all. Didn't even bother with this one at all. And I know I'm not missing shit, Søren, so, and thank God
you're
for
not
that.
missing shit.
Anyway, my number one worst film of the year so far, within the first 6 months of 2025. You guys already know this one. I did a rant on this last month, a couple weeks ago, when Søren and I mentioned it in our podcast, and it is my number one worst film of the year so far. And aside from another movie, aside from another film, this is already battling for my number one worst film of the year spot. Number one, Hurry Up Tomorrow.
This wasn't even a real movie. It was just a half-assed music. It was just a half-assed music video.
Do I even want to talk about this again? I mean, we could just skip ahead and talk about our number one best film of the year, but because I just mentioned it, I might as well go ahead and just get it out of the way. Yep, the weekend self-indulgent film is my number one worst film of the year so far. Hurry Up Tomorrow is one of the most self-indulgent, egocentric, and incompetent films I've ever seen in my life. And worst of all, like Søren just said, it didn't even feel like a fucking movie. Instead, this felt more like a music video stretched out to 100 minutes. And what's also shocking about this is that this was co-written and directed by Trey Edward Schultz, who directed It Comes at Night and Waves. I don't know what happened here, and I really don't want to fault him for how this turned out. No, the real fault goes to the Weeknd himself. It's honestly scary to me that he thought this was a passion project because in reality, it's more of him trying and failing, but failing miserably to act or cry. And my God, don't even get me started on his fucking acting in the film. Like don't even get me started on his acting. Like, it's bad enough with how laughably horrendous his crying felt, but it's on a whole nother level when his acting in this one scene is like Tommy Wiseau levels of just awful. Like look at this.
About you too much, and I just want to help you, Abel.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut up! What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? I have to go right now. I'm getting calls. I have to catch a flight. I'm on a tour. I'm trying to be fucking nice. You see, I'm trying to be nice right now, right? You're forcing me to be bad, but I'm actually doing a good thing. All right? So just chill the fuck out, and I gotta go.
It is time for a new day in Equestria. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh God. You know what? I could beat you to it, Søren. I could beat you to it. Oh, what a lovely day to see a movie. What a lovely day. Oh, hi, Søren. It does. It does. He does. He does. And oh my God, like, and when you waste Jenna Ortega and Barry Keoghan in the film by giving them not that much material to work with, you know it's bad. And my God, I still can't get over how idiotic the ending felt. I still can't get over how idiotic the ending felt. Like, oh my God, like, all of a sudden, in this one scene, Jenna Ortega's character explains to Abel the meaning of his thoughts after she tied him up to his bed, and then all of a sudden, she dances to one of his songs like a fucking exotic dancer. I still can't get over that. Like, what the fuck is this? And then after April sings "Hurry Up Tomorrow," she unties him and sets the hotel room on fire? Like, what? Exactly. Oh my God. Oh my God. Woo! Yeah. Overall, Hurry Up Tomorrow is one of the most shamelessly cynical, unbearably pretentious, self-indulgent, incompetent, and misguided films I've ever seen. And if it wasn't for another certain film that I saw that we're going to talk about next Wednesday, this would have been my worst film of the year, of the whole year. But glad I could make you laugh, dude. If I made you laugh, I've done my job. I've done my job well. Yeah. Overall, this is the worst movie that I've seen the first 6 months of 2025. Yeah. Just even if you're a fan of The Weeknd, stay away from this one. Just stay away. Stay away from this one. It's not worth it. But we now save the best for last. I know it. Our number one best film of 2025 so far. I know it. You know it. Søren knows it. We might as well say it together. Are you ready?
All right.
3, 2,
2,
1.
1.
Sinners. Yep, our number one. Yep, our number one favorite movie of the year so far is Sinners.
Now, conceptually, the idea of vampires in the Western is already a genius concept, but Ryan Coogler amps it up to 11. From his outstanding cast such as Michael B. Jordan in a dual role, fantastic music, and best social commentary of 1930s America, brutal and bloody action, this further proves that Coogler is one of our great filmmakers no matter the genre. And up until Superman came out, I didn't think anyone would have topped this masterpiece. And if this doesn't get at least nominated for all the Oscars, I don't know what to say. So that's why Sinners is my number one best.
And I have furthermore to explain why this is my number one best film of the year too, so far. Sinners is absolutely one of the most original, electrifying, captivating, and exhilarating films I've ever seen. What director Ryan Coogler of Fruitvale Station, Creed, and Black Panther has crafted here is nothing. It's nothing. Movie theaters are not only why I love going to. This is absolutely one of the most original, unique, and captivating films I've ever seen. And it shows on why Ryan Coogler is one of the best filmmakers working today. The storytelling felt both unique, and highly engaging, not to mention very well structured. Ryan Coogler's directing is absolutely one of the year's very best so far, especially with not only do you see the vision and passion he had behind the camera, but he also does a terrific job guiding us through something we've never seen before. And his screenplay is also one of the year's very best, not only due to its well-written dialogue, excellent characterization, as well as combining and balancing its period drama and Southern Gothic vampire horror tones very well, but it also successfully explored its themes on racial violence and spiritual traditions. The acting was absolutely brilliant. Michael B. Jordan absolutely delivers one of, if not the best performance of his career as the Smokestack twin brothers named Elijah and Elias, or Smoke and Stack. His dual performance as those twin brothers is nothing short of electrifying. Just electrifying. Haley Steinfeld, Miles Caton, Jack O'Connell, and Delroy Lindo also deliver some of the very best performances in their careers as well. And my God, the musical score, the score in this movie is by far the best I've heard in 2025. And if this is not nominated for Best Original Score at next year's Oscars, I'm gonna fucking riot. Like, seriously. What I loved about the musical score was how it's also basically a character. Not only with the way it fits the tone and mood of the film, but how it plays a part in it too. That's what made the musical score so fascinating. It's like in this one piece. It's like in this one piece from the famous. It's like this one famous piece from Peter and the Wolf, where the music in the film are the characters. Not just with the bird, not just with Peter, but also the bird, the cat, the grandfather, and especially the wolf. And how they compose those scores together, and how the musical score in that piece was structured was brilliant, as well as utilized. The cinematography was spectacular and absolutely the best I've seen in the movie this year so far. Hold on, cinematography was terrific and absolutely the best. Let me rephrase what I just said. The cinematography was absolutely spectacular and easily the best I've seen in the movie 2025 so far. And on top of its terrific editing and excellent pacing, as well as excellent sound design, it also has some of the very best production values and costume design I've seen in 2025 so far. Since it really does feel like you're back in 1932. And when it came to the vampire and horror elements of the film, boy, did they work so well, especially with how they deliver real tension and suspense that leaves you on the edge of your seat, like it did to me. And the practical effects and makeup are some of the best I've seen this year so far too. And that one sequence in the middle of the film, wow! All I could say is that sequence isn't this one word, mind blowing. And it has the best ending I've seen in 2025 so far. For those of you who have not seen it, continue watching the mid-credits scene and you'll see what I mean. Overall, Sinners is Ryan Coogler's magnum opus. Sorry. Overall, Sinners is Ryan Coogler's magnum opus and one of the most original, powerful, extraordinarily captivating, magical, electrifying, and exhilarating films I've ever seen. And it is easily my number one best film of the year so far, and Soren's number one best film of the year so far too. Well done, Ryan Coogler. Well done. And if you guys have not seen Sinners, what are you doing? No, seriously. What are you doing? Get your ass off the couch or chair or wherever you're sitting at and go watch Sinners right away. You are missing out on what I consider to be one of the best movies I've seen this decade so far. Get out there and watch it. Yeah, that's why it's our number one. All right, well, that'll do it for today's podcast. I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching it. And again, I really do apologize for the glitch. My computer has not. My internet has been acting up, even despite the fact that I got a new computer. So I do apologize for the continuous glitches. But sorry. But yeah, hopefully when we do our next podcast, my internet doesn't act up the way it did today. But overall, yeah, thank you guys for watching tonight's podcast. Today's podcast, it was a and hey, no worries, Taz. If you gotta work, you gotta work. No worries. Hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I'm pretty sure Soren did too. Speaking of which, be sure to subscribe to Soren, the FilmBrony, on his YouTube channel. The link is in the description below. Give him the love he deserves. He's a very talented person and a really good reviewer and a really good person to talk and hang out with. And also check out the podcast down below. He's in too, called the Popcorn Panel Podcast. The link is also in the description below. We'll be back next Wednesday for the 62nd episode of the FilmBrony podcast, where Søren and I we'll try to finish up the remaining films. We'll try to finish reviewing the remaining films from the summer, from the summer movie season, as we're getting close to the fall. And also, we'll talk about our 10 most anticipated films. We'll talk about the 10 movies we're looking forward to seeing the most this fall. So stay tuned next Wednesday for that, and I'm pretty sure stay tuned next Wednesday for that. It's gonna be a really good you don't want to miss out on that. So Stay tuned for that next Wednesday. And until we meet again next Wednesday for the 62nd episode of the FilmBrony podcast, I'm going to